On today's episode of The Finish Line, Tua Tagovailoa returns for his first practice since suffering his concussion in week 2. And according to players and according to the media, he looked sharp. Can this team have another 2021-esque run when Tua returns from injury to turn this season around and potentially squeak into the playoffs? Plus, sands in the hourglass, as are the days of our lives. Another quarterback has been signed by the Miami Dolphins to potentially back up Tua. We will talk about all that and much, much more. Plus, we'll get the guys' thoughts on this upcoming game against Arizona. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, let's get into this.
Touchdown! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open, touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for a touchdown again!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go!
All right, huddle up, huddle up. We're gonna crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, 80. What is it? Drivers, start your engines.
This is The Finish Line.
I coached some great offensive linemen in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. BallGame.
You caught me again.
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and Richmond Webb is absolutely thrilled to be here tonight. I'm just going to let y'all know. And yes, from the feet to the cap, your boy is dressed in all black because it's over for the NFL. Tua's back. All right? Funeral music. All right? What's good, Fin Nation? Hope y'all having a great one. As always, I'm joined at the finish line by the legendary Richmond Webb, the Triple OG Mr. BallGame. Gentlemen, very similar to the Tennessee game, we let a game we probably should have won slip through our fingertips with a below subpar quarterback performance from the opposing team. The defense did all it could. The offense hung them out to dry. And for the fourth time this season, gentlemen, we meet after a Miami Dolphins loss. How are you feeling? And shout out tonight. He says, congrats to Mr. Webb for making it to the next round when it comes to Hall of Fame voting. How are you doing, Richmond?
I'm doing better now. Man, it's Sunday. I think you described it perfectly, but you see we're right there. Not that we got to play a tremendous great game offensively, but to let another one slip through the cracks. And then, I started thinking even after the game, guys like Waddle, Tyreek, those guys got pride. And when they're not getting the targets and stuff, not saying they want to be ball hogs, but when you got that type of talent on your roster and it's not being utilized, I know they're definitely happy that Tua is back in practice and he clears protocol, but it's got to be really frustrating for them because to go from probably the number one tandem as far as, receivers on the same team to the type of production they were putting out to this year, I know it's got to be frustrating because they're competitive people, and I know it, and I know the numbers don't reflect, what it should. And so, I feel for those guys. I know they want to win, but it's just something ain't right. So it's just, and I know it's frustrating for everybody, but just one of those days. I'm hoping, like you said, Tua comes back and we can get this thing turned around against Arizona. But other than that, Saturday wasn't bad. My Aggies pulled out another win. But
what have you thought about Connor Weigman this year? Because everyone had really high hopes for him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of really not been good this year, eh?
No. The first game we played Notre Dame, he really didn't have a good game. And then played like a couple of smaller teams after that. And, he put up some numbers, but you expected to do that against a lesser opponent. At least that's the way I look at it. And then, what was it, Arkansas game? He came and put together a nice game. But the last game, he was okay. He wasn't, just spot on. Yeah, he was considered to be like a Heisman, in the Heisman.
Yeah. A lot of us in the scouting community thought he'd take that leap this year because of his tools, and he'd be in the top 5 quarterback drafted conversation, and he's been nowhere. He might not even make the top 10.
Yeah.
He has been great.
Now the kid from the University of Miami, Cam Ward, he's
been awesome.
Yeah, I know he's from Texas. I was like, okay, you're a Texas kid. That's okay. So yeah, I found that out this week. But yeah, I've just been watching a bunch of the college football, and man, I just hope my Dolphins get together. But other than that, I'm all right. How you doing, Mr. BallGame?
Frustrated as hell. I ain't gonna even lie. Sit, watching that, watching the defense go out there, get that team off the field, and then we just fumble away opportunities because of lack of execution. Like Raheem Mo said, I don't even understand, bro. Like, I know that you understand that your time is almost done, but what you should be doing is teaching and showing the young boy, Jalen Wright, the right way to go about doing things. You feel me? Take care of the ball. That should be the first thing any veteran teaches to a young guy coming into the league if they ain't already figured that out. Take care of the ball. It's your job to take care of the ball first and foremost. Then get what you can get. If your progress is stopped, get the hell down.
Paging Alec Ingold on that same point, too. For the next play.
Ingold's situation is different because that's Mike dumbass.
Yeah, right? But they're both supposed to be leaders of this team, and they're both given a chance to run the ball, and they both fumble it.
I don't understand it, man. You don't teach toughness of your offense. You don't tell people how tough you are by trying to go to the fullback dive, bro.
Yeah.
Like this kid was clipping off 5-6 yards of carry. Hard, tough runs. They didn't want any of that. That's what you should have kept giving to them. You know what I mean? But then you're going to try to get cute, and then this dude fumbles the ball. Like, come on, man. And you got stopped on one. You didn't run it not one time. You ran it twice and got nothing from it, but you're still going to it.
Yeah. Oh, I've said that on 3rd and 1. It was a few drives after the Ingold fumble. On 3rd and 1, you give it to Ingold on a fullback dive. After Ingold just fumbled. B, after that fullback dive because you haven't been throwing wrinkles in it. Hasn't worked. And when you did throw wrinkles in it, i.e. the fullback fake to the toss, you were, again, doing it on 1st and 2nd down instead of 3rd down when you're trying to draw everyone in. But anyways, terrible play call. And, you're giving all these chances when Jalen Wright's up here gashing for 19 yards on a run. And I highlighted that in the film breakdown yesterday. Man, I don't know if you guys went back and watched a second time or watched the film of that run. The hole he made himself skinny enough to fit through on that second run, that 19-yard run, was ridiculous. And then even look at the first run he had, that 9-yard run, where he ran to the right, he had the vision to see the hole was going to close quickly, and he just waited, cut back, showed patience, vision, and burst to get 9 yards when it should have maybe been 1 or 2 yards at most. But let's keep giving it to Mostert.
Yeah.
Or
The
England.
worst part about it for me is the fact that you took, really and truthfully, a pretty fairly above average and pretty good offensive line showing away from them. When they actually got out there and did a lot of good things, you turn around and made some really bad decisions by giving it to guys that hadn't done anything, and you went away from the two guys that were establishing your identity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem, right? Like, he showed growth in the fact of sticking with the run.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he didn't. People. But his personnel usage gave him 2 steps back, because here's the thing: if you're going to run the ball 40 times, and Richmond knows this, you can't afford 2 fumbles when you're rushing the ball 40 times. Like, that will kill yourself. That will shoot yourself in the foot, because you're wiping time off. You're controlling the clock. And you just can't afford mistakes. You know what I mean?
Most of them carrying the ball like a loaf of bread. They got you by your legs. Don't you think they coming up top to knock the ball out your arms at that point? Cover the ball up and fall down on top of the pile or something. But don't just stand there, because you had people underneath it, so it's not like he was gonna fall on his face. You had ways of being able to protect yourself. If nothing else, just fall forward and just cover up the ball. But no, you out there with like a whole loaf of like it's your stepchild that you don't care about. You feel me? And they're gonna do that half-hearted walk to the sideline, looking over like, oh, I ain't want to do that. Get off the field, man. He too buddy with him, bro. That's the problem, man. I'm telling you, man. And then you see Tyreek and Waddle and McDaniel standing over there on the sideline laughing.
Yeah, but hold on. But in fairness, that's when we were winning.
I don't care.
We are
10-3. The battle is still not over, bro, until the final 0-0s on the board. We are not in the position at any point at two and whatever it was to be laughing about anything. You feel me?
Well, you know, they're because it was coming out of the halftime, and it looks like they were talking about the fact that they had 0 targets. If you read the lips a little bit, that's what it
them too.
You watch the all 22. They were. Huntley just wasn't. The problem with Huntley is if the first read isn't there, he's bailing. Huntley was not processed. Well, it's all of their issues.
Well, Mike the one that started him, right?
Skyler has the same issues too.
Yeah, I'm with you.
These guys can't read defenses, process pre-snap, post-snap, and they can't throw with anticipation. There were so many times. I pointed out, listen, I broke down 21 plays. I showed 5 total. 3 or 4 of them were from Huntley, and the other 1 or 2 were from Boyle. Totally missing anticipating routes, missing the reads, et cetera, of Waddle and Tyreek were open, man. It's just we don't have guys delivering them the football. That's the problem.
Which makes it worse into this point, right? A bad decision by the person going out and bringing these.
You want to have a real conversation? You want to have? Let's have a real conversation.
Okay.
I've already said to people, hey, do you trust Greer to draft the next quarterback, because he's already had his shot at Rosen, et cetera. But after what you've seen from Skylar Thompson, what you've seen from their choice from Tim Boyle to Brissett, sorry, that was before him, from Bridgewater to now Tyler Huntley, and then we know Mike McDaniel played a huge hand in the San Francisco 49ers drafting Trey Lance. Do you trust our coaching staff right now to properly evaluate and develop a first or second round quarterback?
Nope.
That's a real conversation right there.
I don't, because they are selective about how they bring in talent to compete with the guys they already got. Most of the guys on the team don't even have to fight through anything to earn the spot. It's a name that get them there and a name that keep them there, because they're not pushing or bringing anybody in to challenge them. You know they ain't gonna bring nobody in to challenge them.
But I'll take it deeper than that. It's deeper than that. Check this out. You've built this offense a certain way with Tua and on all your weapons and with the offensive line, etc. Tua contradicts everything Mike McDaniel has shown us he values in a quarterback. And listen, follow me for a second. He was behind what Trey Lance, the push for Trey Lance in San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones, which is, you look at Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's a better version of what Mac Jones does, just like Tua's a better version of what Brock Purdy and Mac Jones do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that fits what Shanahan likes. So he wanted Trey Lance. Okay? Trey Lance's skill set totally contradicts to his skill set from a timing, rhythm, anticipation, passer, pocket passer. Totally contradicts that. You look at Skylar Thompson, totally contradicts what Tua is as a passer. He's not made of the same mold. Right. Now he brings in Tyler Huntley, and he's going with Tyler Huntley when Tim Boyle, let's be honest, I've said this in the Seattle game, has put the best reps on tape from your backups, but they continue to say, and you look at what Huntley's skill set is. Totally contrary to what Tua Tagovailoa's skill set is. So his philosophy, he's not even consistent with his philosophy at quarterback in-house. So, and then we see what they've done in development with Skylar Thompson over 3 years. Skylar Thompson looks like the same kid he did as a rookie. Inaccurate, can't process worth a damn, can't read the field, can't anticipate worth a damn, has absolutely zero timing to his game unless it's a quick first read and bang, it's out at the back of his drop. Hesitant to pull the trigger, just like Huntley is. You know what I mean? Like, it's I don't know. When you look at his philosophies, they're very it's his philosophical beliefs seem to be contrary to the actual quarterback who's led the league in passing, led the league in passer rating, and made the Pro Bowl last year for the first time for a Dolphins quarterback in 30 years. It's like, bro, what works? What you found what works, dude. Why are you looking for this total different specimen at the position? It makes no sense. So, you know, there's do we trust? So I say now, you say what you said. Do we trust these guys to draft and properly evaluate the next quarterback?
Nope.
Because everyone's going to want Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, or Garrett Nussmeier, or, you know, maybe Carson Beck. Now, they've been scouting Georgia games real heavily over the last couple weeks. And I heard privately weeks ago that Quinn Ewers is his type of guy. And Quinn Ewers, Quinn Ewers was a guy everyone thought would take a massive leap heading into this season, just like we talked about with Connor Weigman, and he hasn't. And he's been bad. And it looks like he's going to lose his job to Arch Manning. So, and he's been injured every year. Sell that to this fan base. Okay. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. That's the real question. Do you want Chris Greer drafting another quarterback? And do you trust our current coaching staff to evaluate and properly develop the next guy? That's a legitimate conversation.
Do you think we'll draft a quarterback high this upcoming draft, or definitely probably got to be a conversation with the injuries, huh?
I think it's going to happen. I don't think they have the money, nor do I think they want to spend premium money on a premium backup. I think they're going to look at it as a cheaper option. If Tua stays healthy the rest of the year, they're going to say, hey, ride it out with Tua for the rest of this year, this next season, groom the kid behind him, and then we'll see where we're at after that. And if Tua goes down, then the kid's going to get fed to the wolves. That's what's going to happen. But they're going to say it's going to be cheaper. You could potentially get if you finish the top 15 pick, you could potentially get a blue chip prospect for half the money of what a premium veteran backup is going to cost you. But I mean, you heard Flacco. He said he was surprised that they never called. And then if you were reading the Barry Jackson articles in the offseason, an agent of a top backup quarterback that got signed said that they talked to the Dolphins and they had no interest in paying a top-tier backup. They're treating backup quarterback like the offensive line right now. Now, here's where it gets tricky with the offensive line. They have their out for Liam Eichenberg after this year. The 4th year's up. You can say, hey, we tried to make it work. Peace out.
They won't.
No, they'll sign him as depth at minimum. Like, dude, we know it's good. We know it's good. He knows the system. You absolutely. Because a conversation I wanted to have, and I wanted to actually pick Richmond Webb's brain about this, because he watches the offensive line, with more intent than any other position, right? We all have our positions that we lock in on when they're on the field. Richmond, I want to get your thoughts on what you've thought about Aaron Brewer so far. Now, he signed a 3-year, $21 million deal with Miami in March. He permitted 6 sacks and 34 pressures in 622 pass blocking snaps for the Titans last season. But this year, he is one of only 5 centers who is not allowed a sack in a minimum of 240 snaps right now. He's only permitted 3 quarterback pressures. No player who has pass blocked on as many plays has allowed fewer pressures than him. You know who he's playing on the level of right now? Remember Tyler Biadasz? He was drafted a couple years ago. He's with Washington now, and he's been really good too. But like that's the level he's on right now. What have been your thoughts about Aaron Brewer? Because if you look at him, bro, if you hop into even like the PFF stats right now, Aaron Brewer is graded as one of the highest guys at center in the NFL right now. He's 9th among 38 centers as a run blocker. He's 8th as a pass blocker, and he's 8th overall. Connor Williams with Seattle, he's 17th best amongst 38 centers this year. What have been your thoughts of Aaron Brewer? Because we were just talking about, Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones. I think it's pretty amazing how good Aaron Brewer's looked considering what's beside him on each side. He's got a leak on each side. He's got a weak point on each side, a weak link on each side. I also think Liam Eichenberg is the reason why we've seen Austin Jackson's play dip a little this year. What have been your thoughts on Aaron Brewer? Have you been impressed with his play this year?
I have. To sign a guy, I mean, it makes you not only him look good, but the guys that went out and got him to replace like a Connor Williams. Like you said, to have those type of grades at this point in the season and after those many snaps, and you've only allowed 3 pressures, no sacks. That's pretty good. And he's got to be doing a pretty good job because for the offensive line, the center is the quarterback. I mean, he calls out the front, and then from there, he determines who the Mike linebacker is, depending on, especially in like nickel situations, will declare probably be a DB, but they'll declare who the Mike is, and that kind of lets everybody know who they're going to take. So, but he has so far he's played tremendous, one of the best centers in the league. He's having a really good year. But yeah, like I said, if you're a GM, you could pat yourself on the back going out and getting a guy like that and then signing him, and especially the way his production is done and having to go through, 3 or 4 quarterbacks and still maintain that level of play.
Yeah.
I think that's, when people look at it and say 2 of it, now he's been, 3 or 4 and to be consistent like that, that's pretty good. So, no, I have been impressed with him.
And I think that's what adds another level of frustration, Richmond. Look at when you've been forced to go off guys, you go and get a guy like Aaron Brewer. Look how good he's been. That's a great evaluation. That's a great fit, all that. So, that's a frustrating thing where it's like, guys, if you're just willing to admit your mistake with Liam Eichenberg and that you didn't properly have a contingency plan in place for Isaiah Wynn, who's hurt every year,
It won't.
You look at what you could go out there and get, and look at how you could fix this. I mean, I know if Isaiah Wynn was healthy, we'd have left guard locked down right now, but just admit your mistake with Eichenberg. And, you've already shown you can go get a good quality free agent. You can identify the talent, identify the fit, and execute it with Aaron Brewer, but you're refusing to do that with the guards. It's crazy, Richmond. It's nuts that they were even thinking. I want to know what they were smoking and where they got it, that they thought they could replace even half of Robert Hunt's production and the ripple effect of how Robert Hunt made Austin Jackson better with Liam Eichenberg.
Well, when you get 2 guys that mesh together, it's almost like Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson was kind of like when me and Keith Sims played together. When you get 2 guys like that, you want to keep those guys together as long as possible. And like you said on this show, BallGame said it, they had an opportunity to sign Robert Hunt early to get him before, the numbers just explode out of control. But, you want to keep at least that side, because if you sign Aaron Brewer, you got Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson, that's the whole right side. And with Tua being a left-handed quarterback, you got his blind side protected. So even if Wynn is still hurt, you still got Teron Armstead. You got a pretty decent front 5 in front of him. And I think for any quarterback to be successful, you got to have a good front 5, and yeah, that hurt me when we let Robert Hunt go. But and they pressed him. I thought they pressed, the GM Chris Gertie. He took several questions, and people kept asking about the offensive line, and he was like, "No, we feel pretty comfortable. We're good there, this and that." But I think everybody else saw that and was like, "No, we need to make some upgrades." And that's a big hole to fill when you lose a guy like Robert Hunt. You just got to call it what it is. He was a baller, and like you get that solidified. Normally, you want to keep that together, and I think it was manageable, but they, I guess, chose to let him hit the free agent market, and then the numbers were just too high. So it's frustrating.
Yeah. So good news, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Tua Tagovailoa returned to practice, and here are some of the highlights from today for everyone to see. Let me just pull this out here. So, Tua apparently today looked very sharp at practice. That's according to players and media who was there as well. I wanted to ask you guys this. I mean, the reality of the situation is this: there's 11 games with his pending return. We are right now 2-4. At minimum, he's got to go 8-3, so we can get to 10-7 and get a spot in the playoffs. And obviously, that would probably be a wild card spot. How confident are you guys that this team can make a run like they did in 2021 when Tua returned back in the Flores days, and they went 7-1 over the final 8 games of the season? Yes, you guys heard me right, because guess what? In the final 8 games of the season, yes, in 2021, we won 3 times in December, and we won once in New England. So we actually went 4 wins and 1 loss in a 5-game stretch between December and January of that year. How confident are you guys that this team can go on this kind of run? Go ahead, BallGame.
Yeah, go ahead, BallGame.
Had they won the game Sunday and pulled themselves back to even, I would have said I would have gave them roughly about maybe a 65% chance. But taking that loss on Sunday and then now putting all this pressure squarely on the shoulders of Tua, who I believe is still going to be able to do some good things this year, as long as they can keep him upright, that's just a lot, man. Because I don't really see the same level of commitment, to be honest with you, on the offensive side of the ball that I do on the defense. Defense was supposed to be the ones over there having struggles and working things out because you got a whole new regime running the show over there, but they figured it out. I mean, I always say football on the defensive side of the ball is oftentimes a little bit easier to come together, but I just don't see it, man. I mean, they maybe he comes back and then reinvigorates the process, but like they just didn't seem like they really had any, like, other than the running backs and the O-line, this other skill players just weren't there. And when you got ineptness at quarterback, even Tua coming back, there's got to be some question marks. And I don't know. That's a tall order. 8-3. Oh, yeah, that's that. And the road to get there is not easy at all. This would have been These would have been the layup games. These would have been the games that we just lost that Mike should have been able to at least prove to all of us that understand football and all the intricacies of it, that he has the ability to adapt and change things on the fly to make it easier for those guys to still be able to be productive, and he didn't do that. So I'm not at any point convinced. Even though I take it off the players, I don't believe the leadership right now at this point has the wherewithal to be able to navigate these 11 games. I'm just I don't.
So
you should have shown it. If it was there, you would have shown it earlier. Like when I see Weaver standing on the sideline barking on him, you know there's a problem. My guys are out here killing themselves for you, and you got to get it together. You feel me? Like, come on.
I know what you're talking. I know the actual clip you're talking about, I don't know if he's barking on him. Like,
but he was in his ear. Like, come on, man, you got to get together.
But they've got Arizona, Buffalo, the Rams, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Packers on Thanksgiving, the Jets, the Texans, then San Fran, then the Browns, and then the Jets again remaining.
The only thing, there's a 3-game stretch in there, and there's 3 games in there that are going to be extremely crucial for me, starting with that Packer game, right? And those 3 that are back-to-back together there, because Houston is not going to be a layup. Obviously, at this point, that's a good football team. Packers are a good football team. Hell, we were supposed to be a good football team. We couldn't even beat the Colts without Jonathan Taylor. I lost faith, bro, in the fact that come on, man. The dude, Richardson was not that guy, man. And we failed, and even we would fail at times to stop him. Like, the QB run is all they got.
Yeah.
That's it. You know that.
Yeah.
Like, they got NFL team out here resorting to throwing flea flickers. You know what I'm saying? Reverse flea flickers. You know they don't have no offense, bro. And they still almost got it off. He still got it away to the guy for the first down.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like,
even that throw late in the game when they're up 13-10, I don't know if you guys remember it. Jordan Poyer should have made that pick. That throw to Pittman on the left side, it went right through Jordan Poyer's hands, and there was no one in front of him. If he came down with that and got up, that could have been a pick 6.
Yeah.
And Poyer looked back to the heavens when he didn't come down with the football.
Game of inches, man.
Well, what do you think, Richmond? I mean, can they have a 2021-esque run where he went 7-1 over the final 8 here, or is BallGame right? Because BallGame's got a real good point. Don't just put this on the players. Do you believe and trust that this staff is good enough to get us to at minimum 8-3 over the next 11?
Yeah, I think the thing for me is what I look at is, Tua's coming back. Happy about that. But even when Tua was here before, the offense didn't look anything like it did last year. So I'm hoping they get it together, but based on what you saw, and you got to judge on what you saw and not what you kind of hope. We got some issues offensively, and to say you need to go win 8 games, that's a lot of pressure, because basically you got to say the playoffs start right now and take that approach. And each week you almost like, we can't afford to lose a game, because if not, it's a lot of pressure. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but to be able to go out there, relax, have fun, and have confidence that it's going to get done week after week after week, to win 80% of your games that you got remaining, that's a tall order. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I kind of side with BallGame. We've got some offensive issues that we still hadn't fixed yet, and with them not being fixed, if it was a game or 2 I saw where, okay, now we head in the right direction, now we getting Tua back, so it's going to even be more productive. We hadn't even seen that, so it's going. I hope we do, but I kind of got to ride with BallGame on that one. We got some issues we got to still get fixed, so it'd be pretty tough. Yeah, just to be honest, it'd be pretty tough, I would think.
And just further updates from today. Apparently, there was a lot of joy in the locker room from Tyreek and others about having Tua back today. Tyreek even told fantasy owners, basically, I'm effing back. Here we go. Teammates have all told the media that they actually have told Tua to protect himself. They've all encouraged him to continue to protect himself. Now, he's been symptom-free since September 13th. Now, here's the thing: the final stage before non-clearance, final stage before clearance is non-contact football activity. So unless the Dolphins tell us he is cleared, we will not be able to tell simply by observing him at practice. He will obviously also not wear the guardian cap, but he does wear the Vicus 02 Matrix ID QB helmet, which is the safest helmet for QBs and graded higher than a regular helmet with a guardian cap over it. So there you go. That's the deal where we're at with Tua. So he's back, and apparently he looked really sharp today. That's what everyone who was there was saying. So,
Reason, is that the same helmet he's been wearing all season, or this is a change? As far as
I don't know if this is a change. I just know this is an update of what he's wearing right now.
I would expect.
And I think it was the one he's been wearing the whole time.
I would expect him to be sharp, considering I believe he's been throwing that damn ball around since the next week after that damn week that they took him away from us.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is his damn offense designed specifically for him, and they can't bring anybody else. No other NFL quarterback can run it. He better look sharp in it.
Well, what I said when he had that presser, his media availability a couple of days ago, look at what he's telling you without telling you. He's telling you he's been in stage 4 of protocol for the last 4 or 5 weeks because he's been doing non-contact football activities, right? Throwing is a non-contact football activity.
Right.
They asked him about throwing to Odell Beckham, and he said he's thrown to Odell over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And they said, when did you start throwing? And he's like, a week after the concussion. So, it goes back to my report earlier in the season that I had for Patreon and channel members only. I heard he wanted to be back for that Titans or Patriots game. He didn't want them to put him on IR.
Right.
And I got an update coming this week for people, and we'll have more insight on all that. But yeah, it's a crazy situation, that whole thing. Hey, I don't know if you guys saw it, but today the Dolphins signed another quarterback as well. CJ Beathard, the quarterback that used to be in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, these guys just can't make up their mind who they want to be the backup. Yeah, like, do you see with how they're treating Tyler Huntley and now getting out CJ Beathard? Do you think they're trying to quietly admit, hey, we're done with Skyler?
Shut up. Man, and we gonna be honest, right? Skyler should never make the damn team in the first place. You should have spent some resources and really brought in a quality backup quarterback, right? There were plenty of guys that could have been a guy that could have been right there to hold us over, but no, you got all these damn experiments, and then you get people's whole opinions and hopes built up on these guys just to have them be let down by the fact that you didn't even have the ability to even coach them through the intricacies of this damn offense. Like, it ain't that hard to scale your shit back to the point where it's just basic football, so these guys ain't got to be out there having these brain and mind conniptions, right? Because you can watch them, first read is close. Oh, what do I do now? Like, come on, man. There's rarely any other teams in the NFL when that guy went down, miss a beat this much. But then we got this guy who was it said it, right? He was a run game coordinator, right? So if you know you ain't that fluent in the passing game, bring somebody in that is. And then let them call it. You don't have no experience in that. I would prefer you be the head coach because the players love you.
Yeah, be the overseer.
Just deal with the refs on Sunday, bro. Leave the play calling to the grown men. Because at this point, you're a little boy getting sunned. He got sunned by a whole new dude. The coach dude over there know what the hell's going on. You got
Shane
sunned
Steichen?
by him. Come on, bro. You got sunned by him on Sunday. Had you calling a timeout when you didn't have to call one?
Yeah.
All sorts of shit like that. Like,
you hard.
You made yourself look exactly what you are. Green as hell, bro. But it's okay if you're learning and you're really going to apply what you're learning. But you keep doing the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
That's insanity. Right? Is that not the definition of insanity?
Yeah.
Same things over and expecting a different outcome. And I'm over it at this point. I wanted to give him all the grace and all the time to figure it out. But, bro, standing over there looking at that stupid-ass play sheet is not going to get the things fixed.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
A reason is, I know we keep talking about the quarterbacks they bring in, but is there a quarterback that kind of processes that we could bring in, or suggestions that, not saying they Tua, but in the event that he went down, is there some guys out there that we could bring in and say, okay, he can still run this offense? You know what I'm asking? It's just
the problem is that this is going to take a couple weeks for even smart quarterbacks to start getting aggressive. Now, I said this when Tua first went down. I would have went out and got Sam Howell. He's shown that he can perform at the next level. He's won games at Washington. I would have seen what Seattle wanted. Another guy who we asked about on this channel, whether they should go get and reunite him with Darrell Bevel, was Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson isn't as good in structure as he is out of structure, so that might have been frustrating for some people. But, you know, I think, you know, are the Indianapolis Colts going to trade Joe Flacco, and do you really want to give something up for like a 39-year-old backup quarterback? You know what I mean? At least with Sam Howell, you get a young kid in here that, you know, you could legitimately turn into something, right? And the problem is now where you just kind of missed the window to get that guy in here and get him ready for if Tua does go down again.
Yeah.
Now you just got to hope Huntley continues to pick it up.
Is he got like a sprained shoulder, or did they say what the injury is on Huntley?
No, they haven't said exactly what the shoulder is. So, I mean, I don't know. But I mean, we all know what BallGame feels, that's for sure. Oh man.
I just hate there being other situations that the players can't control. And although they don't, you know, we don't excuse them from any blame when they screw up. A lot of attention, a lot of things go missed sometimes, right? And not by us, because we hold it pretty much right in the middle, and wherever the blame needs to go, it goes there. But I want people to truly start looking at some of the dysfunction that's on this team. It ain't all with the players. A lot of that shit's sitting over there with them coaches, right? Where we can admit that maybe because Mike was inexperienced, he shouldn't have been allowed to be the play caller for the first couple seasons. It's convenient. I don't understand.
Bro, I said it in year one and it wasn't popular. People were like, "Reason, it's too early." I said it. I said you should be handling this over to Darrell Bevel.
Exactly.
I said this in year one, and people were like, "No, that's not. You got to give him a chance." Okay. Did you guys see Jerome Baker got traded today? Didn't even make it a season with Seattle.
Yeah, they got that young boy behind him. Who he went to?
He went to the Titans. The Seahawks sent Jerome Baker and a 4th-round pick to the Titans for Ernest Jones.
Yeah, he wasn't really that effective for them anyway. So
yeah, well, all these people who wanted. I remember a couple years ago when people tried to crucify me on Twitter for hating that we paid Jerome Baker the money we did. You know, they'll keep these guys around, but they won't, you know, put money aside and try to get done early. Like, unbelievable. All right, so heading into this weekend, you know, you mentioned something about Shane Steichen out coaching Mike McDaniel. Now, here's the issue. Anthony Richardson didn't really run amok on us. This week, though, we are going against the Arizona Cardinals, gentlemen. They're averaging 5.5 yards per carry, second in the league, only behind Baltimore. James Conner, 6th in the league, 504 yards rushing. He's averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Kyler Murray, he's averaging 9 yards on 36 rush attempts, the highest per carry average in the league for anyone with more than 10 rushing attempts. He's got 325 yards rushing already this season. Dolphins are permitting about 4.6 yards per carry, which is 18th in the league. And last year, the Dolphins permitted 3.8 yards per carry, which was 7th in the league. Also, remember, Kyler Murray had that 44-yard touchdown run against the Chargers last week. You know, I know everyone was worried last week about Anthony Richardson and an actual mobile quarterback and what they've done to us historically. I think Kyler Murray is a bigger threat, a far bigger threat than, you know, Anthony Richardson at this stage of his career. How are you guys feeling heading into this game against Arizona this weekend? Where are you guys' minds at with it? Because, you know, Richmond, are you going down to this game because it's the fan weekend? And isn't Tim Bowens going into the Ring of Honor?
Tim Bowens I talked to him today. He's going in. I'm not going down because, you know, my wife just got out of the hospital. So,
yeah.
But I talked to him and told him, you know what the deal was, because I'm always there. He's always there to support this and that. And one of the most likable teammates, you know, everybody respect him, always held him as a leader. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. But, you know, speaking of Kyler Murray, he's a different ball game than Richardson. I mean, I think the defense is going to have to do is be disciplined in their pass rush lanes and try to keep him contained, because if he gets outside the pocket, he can hurt you with his legs, and also he's a much better thrower than Richardson. So that's another element you got to deal with. And then I think Marvin Harrison Jr. been playing pretty well, so he's got some weapons that definitely got to be concerning. But I think if you keep him in the pocket contained, he's a shorter quarterback, so I think he has some vision issues as far as trying to see over those big boys in the middle. That would be my take, trying to keep him contained in there and trying to stop the run and force him, because if he can't get outside the pocket, I think that's where you probably make him a little bit more uncomfortable, because he's such a dynamic player that he's kind of like Lamar Jackson. If he breaks outside of containment, he can really hurt a defense. So
yeah,
man, I'm biased. It's hard for me to go against the Dolphins. I mean, even when you don't see it, I still got to ride with them. It's that I'm just hoping. I'm hoping Tua plays this week. If everything clears, I don't want him to do anything to jeopardize his health, but realistically, he gives us the best chance, the best opportunity to be competitive offensively. It takes a lot of pressure off the defense, this and that. And I think if he's, can play and, he's legitimate, okay to go out there and play, I think we have a chance to win this game. Definitely get, Waddle and Tyreek, some, like you say, the reads that were blatantly missed by other quarterbacks that can't, process and do that. Maybe we can start taking advantage of that before, because I know how fans in Miami, they will stop showing up, and they haven't yet. And I appreciate the fans hanging in there, but they're not gonna put up with too much more. I just
especially with the Heat coming back now.
The Heat coming back, so they got some options. So
shout out to Hammer. I hope you're doing good, brother. Hope you're doing good, man. Yeah, so you got us winning, obviously. Why wouldn't you, right?
Oh yeah, it's man. I'm the guy that if you trying to place a bet, don't take my advice, especially with the Dolphins, because I'm over biased or over positive on them week in, week out. So BallGame will give you a much better.
No, I won't.
BallGame.
I done figured it out, bro. I'm suffering from a long-standing case of Stockholm syndrome. Been victimized by this team since 1979, bro. And here I am on Sundays defending them now at this point to my son, he's lighting me up with all sorts of reasons why we should jump ship and why we shouldn't even deal with this organization no more. And I keep convincing him.
Who does he want to jump ship for?
No one. Just damn the NFL altogether. You feel me? And just don't even be emotionally tied to anyone. And I still keep pulling him back in. You know what I'm saying? I got Stockholm syndrome. I mean, as a psychologist, I know it. I've self-diagnosed myself. Even called one of my homeboys and had him talk me through it. He said, "Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you're being victimized so much by someone, and then you start to make excuses for why you staying in the middle of the victimization." Yeah, you low key got the syndrome. So I'm accepting it now. I'm just talking it out now at this point.
So you think we're gonna win this weekend? You beat
Yeah.
Reason, you by yourself, Reason. We ain't.
I haven't said anything, bro.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You don't have to. Me and BallGame will get lit up in the chat.
I went too far off that score from last week. They just were reversed too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
I got one. I got a good one. You know what I'm saying? He told me exactly what I need. I don't even need pills for this. I just have to stay real with myself, Tom.
I need a referral. Send me over. I need to talk to him.
I just got to keep it real with myself. I got a problem, bro. Since 79, I've been following this team. I got a problem. Should have been got off the ship.
At least you saw them go to the playoffs. So in the Super Bowl in the 80s,
Yeah.
I've been here since February '85, and what have I seen?
And and then when I said, you know what the coldest part is? Nowadays, when you sit around trying to argue with somebody about how great your team is, and they tell you, they look over at you with the side face and be like, man, if you don't shut your ass up. When Dan Marino retired, bro, that was a wrap for y'all. You ain't even relevant in 2 decades, man. Don't come over here with that. I'm like, man.
Well, no, what's crazy is, up here, because obviously Canada hockey's big up here, right? So, we a lot of us hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know what I mean? Because they're just stuffed down your throat.
Yeah.
And the Maple Leafs haven't won since 1967. The Dolphins haven't won since 1973. I mean, we would, we're getting into the same realm here. It's been 51 years.
It'd be nice, kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a long drought like that, and now you can't keep them out the playoffs in the Super Bowl. Man,
yeah, but how rare is a Mahomes?
No. I'm just saying it would be nice. I'm not.
And Andy Reid.
They
that's what I'm worried about, right? They're gonna fire McDaniel. McDaniel will go be an OC somewhere, figure it all out, go somewhere else, and pop off like Dan Campbell. Buddy, that's the lot. You've seen it. You've been around the organization now since the 90s. That is how it goes for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Dan Campbell.
That's how it plays out.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell.
Drew Brees. No, we'll take Dante Culpepper. Drew Brees goes and wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Dan Campbell. We had him.
And Saban left. You think if we got Brees, Saban might have stayed because we could have been a winning organization?
Shit, I'm surprised we kept any of the players we kept when Philbin. When you sign a Joe Philbin, bro, you know you're in trouble. Like, come on, man.
Well, no, it could have been even worse. Remember, we finished second, but we were battling the Seahawks for Matt Flynn.
Yeah.
Remember, we were going to pay Matt Flynn all that money.
Yeah.
The backup who popped off for Green Bay in that one season, and then what happened? First season he goes to Seattle. They drafted Russell
Wilson. Yeah.
And Russell ended up taking his job, not even like 2 years into it.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
And I always forget the there was a coach that he interviewed and told the Dolphins to draft Russell Wilson. And it was a college coach. I always forget his name. It was Brett Bielema. He was Wisconsin's head coach at the time.
Yeah.
And in 2012, it was Bielema. In 2012, he interviewed with them to take the opening, and he said what his plan was going to be. He was going to now remember Russell went in the third, right? If I remember correctly, his plan was he was going to take Russell in the second. And it was Ireland back then, right? And Ireland laughed him off. Ireland said, "No, you're crazy." And so Bielema pulled himself out of the head coach race because he didn't like how they approached his vision. And he said he remembers watching Russell Wilson get drafted because he was in a like bar with his wife or whatever.
Yeah.
And he got drafted in the third round. He's like, I told the Dolphins to take him in the second. He's like, and then when I watched Russell Wilson win a Super Bowl, he's like, I would have had them there within a couple of years. So it's just been that poor decision from up top that's trickled down. It's right? Like even the Parcells stuff, they pissed Parcells off because they make that other dude, Stephen Ross, he's not with the team anymore, but they made him one of the operations dude, and they had everyone reporting to him, and then he would report to Parcells, and Parcells got pissed off and basically said, "F you, I'm out."
Yeah, nobody want to be micromanagement.
Yeah.
Especially when you come to the table with a resume like those guys had. Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like we kind of knew Mike was going to be green. So that's my thing is you can bring in a coach that's green, but the infrastructure around him needs to be so supportive, and he needs to listen to. I mean, you're learning on the job, so it's OJT for you, right? And that's where he should have treated it, right? I got all these guys that have been in the league way longer than me in these positions. If nothing else, their jobs depend on my success because I'm tied to them as well. So I should listen to them You know, but I don't know. I don't know. I would love to be in at least one of these conversations in these rooms to see exactly what they're telling him and who's telling him what, because like there's got to be some disconnect, bro.
The guy I'm thinking about is Mike D. He's currently the president of Odyssey. Yeah. He was the chief operating officer for the Boston Red Sox, and he came in and basically everyone stopped reporting to Parcells, and Parcells got pissed off, and then that was the end of that. So, and guess who was the director of college scouting at the time? Chris Greer. You know, that's the problem right there. Is Chris Greer's been here for 20 years and been one of the main parts of this losing culture. Right? We've been stuck in this losing culture for 25 plus years, and guess who the main culprit is? It's like when Mike McDaniel goes up on the podium after the game. I gotta get this discipline thing figured out. I gotta get these penalties figured out, brother. It's the same culprits every time. You know what you have to do and what you have to do. You got to bench these guys and send messages. But no, you trot. That's what taps my ass, eh? Julian Hill makes all these mistakes, yet keeps getting more opportunities than a guy than Jalen Wright, who keeps earning more opportunities. And make it make sense to me. It makes zero sense. It really does when you break it down. Final thoughts, ball game?
Man, just gotta stay the course, man. You know what I'm saying? And keep some optimism that, Mike gonna turn the corner, or at least get up and walk half the distance to the corner, and then they can carry him the rest of the way, and then he can figure it out sometime through that process. But there's got to be something that they do, man, to get this guy up to speed and quickly and more quickly engaged with what's happening on game days. And so if it means that he can't walk around with that stupid clipboard, then take it away from him and just let him just be the game. Yeah, deal with the refs and deal with all the things that you see a lot of these other coaches, because I ain't seen Dan Campbell calling no plays.
Yeah.
Tomlinson don't call no plays. Yeah. Andy Reid walking around with the headset because he's just listening, but he ain't really calling the plays. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do both. And you can't be actively engaged in watching what's going on in the game as a coach and trying to call it at the same time. That shit is damn near impossible. I don't know too many that's ever been able to do that at a high level. But when they get away from it and they find someone that they can trust to do it, they become even better coaches, because now they got all the other stuff handled by somebody else. And you don't have to be, it don't take anything from this dude to allow that process to happen. That's just my thing, man. Like, come on, bro. You got to get out of his own way so the team can flourish. Set your ego to the side and going on about the business of it, because I just don't believe right now at this point he's better than, he's not better than the other guys on the tree. LaFleur is killing them all right now, right? And he ain't calling no plays. He got
Final thoughts, Richmond?
I need BallGame's doctor. I need a referral, but I think the thing, is, I guess the way I look at it is, you need somebody on your team that will be honest with you, and not just somebody that's going to say, yeah, everything's good, this and that. It doesn't matter whether you're a coach or, if I was in the studio and I was like, hey, man, what do you think about that? And you if it's trash, I'd rather you tell me, hey, man, don't put that out. You need to go back, you know what I'm saying, to make me work harder. I think you need somebody that's going to keep you accountable and honest. And like you said, don't reward players for consistent, making penalties or mistakes, this and that.
That costs you.
There's got to be consequences. And I agree, because it's like, we've been talking about these penalties, I know, since the first game.
What would Shula do? If all these penalties were happening, what would Shula do?
No. This wouldn't
be exactly.
No. Exactly. Be happening.
No.
Yeah, and everyone loved Shula as a person. They all loved Shula, but they all were afraid of the hand.
Yeah.
That was something he harped on, being the least penalized team, not mental mistakes, this and that. And even if you made a mistake, I know times where, say, I jumped offside or something like that. I knew when I went to the sideline, the first thing I'd do was find him and angle as far as away from him, and sometimes he still come down there and chew you out. But he kept you. He was gonna hold you to a high standard than everybody else was, because you set the team back, especially offensively or even defensively. You can be almost getting ready to get off the field.
Yeah.
A penalty, and you keep the drive going. So it was like, it's the little things that that's what he was really good at, was
attention to detail.
Yeah, attention to detail. And I think that's something we're missing. We can get that fixed. It'll make a huge difference.
Guys, do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. We had over 450 people in the room tonight watching us strictly on YouTube. Appreciate all of you for coming through and supporting us. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. with Neil Driscoll for Fin Too Deep. Friday, we'll be back to preview the Arizona Dolphins game. And on Sunday, we will have the live reaction to the game for Tua's return, as well as the post-game show. So a lot of content coming your way. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. See you on the next one. Fins up all day, every day. Have a fantastic rest of the day, everyone.